Welcome back to another show about zombie ice. I thought I would only have to do one of these, but apparently there are new, unique ideas about how the ice is going to make the ocean overflow. So I bring into evidence this ABC thing that popped into my feed right after I posted my video. That was the next thing that followed. So I had to watch it, and naturally I found something a little strange. So I'm going to play that video right now. Okay.
New study finds that Greenland has more than 120 trillion tons of ice that can be thought of as zombie ice. That's right, zombie ice that is going to raise the sea level globally by at least 10 inches. This coming on the heels of data from the Nature Climate Change Journal that states 3.3% of Greenland's ice will melt regardless of carbon cutting actions. How much of a threat does this present to us? Joining me now to discuss it is Richard Alley. He is professor of geosciences at Penn State University. Professor, thanks in advance for your time. What exactly is zombie ice, and why should we be worried about it?
Yeah, so if you drop an ice cube in your glass of tea...
All right, first of all, that has nothing to do with any of this. There's not a boiling tea ocean. Nobody's dropping anything. This is ice that's already floating in the ocean. This is not a thing. It could be potatoes maybe from space that come in. Where is this ice that's getting dropped in? All right, sorry.
It hasn't melted yet, but it's going to. And you could call that zombie ice. We have raised the temperature. It is now warm enough that parts of Greenland are like the ice cube in your glass of tea. It is going to melt. It just hasn't had time to melt yet. And so that is what it's being called, zombie ice.
Why are they saying that when it melts, it's going to raise the level of the water? It doesn't do this. Look at my last video. When ice melts, the displacement of water is the same. Ugh. What the fuck, man? Look, this guy, Richard Alley. Okay, so he's a PhD at professor of geosciences at Pennsylvania State University. Okay, let's go.
And as they said, this is enough to make a real difference to the ocean level, but it's still only 3% of Greenland. There is enough ice in Greenland that if you melt it all, the ocean goes up 24 feet.
Well, let's stay with the unavoidable 10 inches before we talk about 24 feet, please. But that 10 inches is still more than twice as much as sea level rise, as scientists had previously expected, right, from the melting of Greenland's ice sheet. So does this change at all the timeline for how globally nations should be dealing with climate change?
You know what's great about this? It doesn't matter how you deal with it because you will be successful. The ice will never melt and make anything overflow. So no matter what he says, he's going to be right. Let's see what he says.
It shifts it a little bit worse. So, you know, that we are warming the world. This is raising sea level, partly because the ocean water expands as it warms, partly because the ice in the mountains is melting and flowing into the ocean, and
thermo-expansion actually is a thing. It should be factored in, but it's very minimal. It's not going to make 8 feet.
Because the edges of Greenland are melting and flowing in the ocean, and a little bit from Antarctica. What this does is say we're likely to get a little more from Greenland. We're likely to get a little more rise on the coast than we had been planning for. What's happening there already is challenging for people, and so this does not make...
What is happening? I haven't seen anything happen yet. Even in Venice. Yeah, you know, they have a little Aqua Alta problem. But that's because that island was built out of tree trunks that they stuck into the bottom of the bed, the seabed. They just drove them in, and they built this city on top of it. So over the course of, it's got to be 900 years or something. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of sinkage. Yeah, and there's a little bit of problem going on over there, that's for sure. But it's not because anything rose, because it's the only place I know that has a problem like this.
Make it better.
Now, a new report today confirms record high greenhouse gases, sea levels, ocean heat in 2021. And you say the committed melting and sea level rise is, as you described it very well, an ice cube put into a hot cup of tea. How do we cool down, if there's a way, our atmosphere?
Yeah, so the path is to quit releasing greenhouse gases, which are primarily carbon dioxide from burning fossil fuels. So if we want to limit the warming, we want to keep the melting of Greenland to a few percent and not a lot of it, and a lot of the feet of sea level rise that are locked up in Greenland, we get off of releasing carbon dioxide from burning fossil fuels to the atmosphere.
All right, so it sounds like, as far as you are concerned, it is a relatively simple solution, perhaps difficult to follow, but a simple and clear answer. Professor Ali, thank you so much.
All right, come on, man. Jeez. All right, so what's the deal with this guy? I had to look into him a little bit, you know. What are you going to do? All right, so he was invited to testify about climate change by Vice President Al Gore, who made that movie about how everything was going to be underwater now, I think by 2008 or something like that. I don't remember the year, but everything was supposed to by now be underwater. But that didn't happen. He's a lead author of Chapter 4, The Observations, Changes in Snow, Ice, and Frozen Ground. He doesn't understand the displacement. He studied ice. I didn't study ice. I just put an ice cube in a glass. All right, let's go. All right, he won a 2014 BBVA Foundation Frontiers of Knowledge Award in climate change category for his pioneering research into the mechanics of ice and its implications for abrupt climate change. I mean, I'm just going to infer that he's talking about how when ice melts, somehow there's going to be more water. I mean, you can see how this could be a really beneficial thing to the water companies. Imagine having some water and freeze it, which makes it expand by 10%. And then by what they're saying, it will expand more when it thaws out. Well, why not just refreeze it and thaw it and freeze it and thaw? Come on, man. This is... All right. I'm not going to get fucking mad over here, but I decided to do my own experiment again because I wanted to see what would happen if not a potato and not ice being dropped, but ice in boiling tea. I just use boiling water because I'm on a budget here. So here is my experiment. Oh, I don't actually need that. That was unexpected, honestly. I made a bigger ice cube. I had these silicone ice cube makers that, they give you a nice ice cube. Wow, that thing just dissolved. So, yeah, his idea of dropping an ice into a boiling tea, a boiling ocean tea, I don't think that's really what's going to happen here. But, well, I just wanted to pass this along, and I had to follow up because these guys, I don't know, it's a barrage of interesting information. Have a good one.